She knew what this was about. She'd suspected Paddy of drug dealing for years. Someone who'd been mates with him had told her Paddy sold dope, kept it hidden under his floorboards. The drug bust she'd been waiting for had arrived. She was eager to pay the cops a visit to tell them what she knew. But first, the haircut. Larrimah is stranded halfway between Mataranka and Daly Waters, in what's called Never Never Country. Katherine, 180 kilometres away, is the closest major town, but calling it major is probably overstating it. The book Shit Towns of Australia says Katherine is basically a tarted-up gulag masquerading as civilization, which seems a little unfair. It does have a Woolworths, a McDonald's and at least 5 bottle shops, which is a lot more than what's available in Larrimah. The closest thing to a shop here is a dusty shelf at the pub, which at last count held 17 cans, most of them tinned asparagus. But the dearth of local produce in Larrimah is fair enough. Demand isn't high when you're catering to a population of about a dozen. And so regular trips to Katherine for supplies and services are a necessary ordeal for Larrimah's handful of residents. And with a speed limit of 130 kilometres per hour, the journey along the Stuart Highway, known as the track to locals, goes quickly. Fran was only 10 minutes away from her Katherine appointment when the police pulled her over. "You're Fran?" the officer asked. "Yeah." Fran wasn't fazed that he knew her name. She was well known in these parts. Anyone who'd driven along her stretch of the track had encountered her tea house and homemade pies, or at the very least the signs pointing to them. The business had landed her in Lonely Planet guidebooks and on several travel programs. She was also a bit of a character. Mid-70s, so short she barely reached most people's shoulders, and built like a kindly grandmother whose soft appearance was at odds with her penchant for the F word. The officer leaned in. "We want you to go up to head office in Katherine and make a statement." "Well, that's where I'm going. I seen you had a drug bust over the road." "No," the officer said. "Paddy's missing." Fran was shocked. "Nah. Yeah, he's missing." The officer told her Paddy's dog was missing too. There was a moment of silence as Fran digested the news. "Well, I never murdered him," she said. It was a joke, something she said in the spur of the moment. But as she conceded later, it turned out not to be that funny. Fran had travelled almost 2 hours, so she kept her appointment. At that stage, Paddy's disappearance wasn't considered suspicious. He was only missing. Police just needed to know if Fran had seen him or knew where he might be. When the haircut was finished, Fran made her way to the police station, ready to tell her story. She hadn't seen Paddy since the 12th of December, 4 days before he disappeared. She remembered it well because it wasn't even midday, but it was scorching, the hottest day of the year. She had been in her bedroom packing a bag for a trip to Darwin, and when she looked out the window, she saw a figure on the road, struggling with something heavy. She squinted, and as the silhouette got closer, she realised it was Paddy, dragging a dead kangaroo across the highway by its tail. His dog, Kelly, was by his side. He threw the kangaroo somewhere between Fran's driveway and bedroom. Then he looked up at her, smiled and walked away. That was the last time she saw Paddy, she told the officers. The police interview was the beginning of a nightmare for Fran. The hullabaloo soon moved over the road, from Paddy's place to hers. In the coming weeks, she gave police 81 pages of statements. Owen, her gardener, was questioned too. Search teams went through everything. Fran's personal effects, her business papers. They went through the whole house 5 times. They took her receipts away. They drained her septic tank, emptied and searched the incinerator, combed through the shed. They unpacked her freezers, turning up a $7,000 wad of cash. Pretty soon, the story travelled. Reporters started turning up at her house. She appeared on A Current Affair, and Lee Sales interviewed her on 7:30. She got a publicity manager. Fame became infamy. Before long...